Over time, human thinking has been evolved, but today most of us don't just think, we overthink. And much of that thinking is not just unnecessary, but it is also harmful. If you just look back and see the patterns of your thinking, it is often repetitive. Have you ever laid awake entire night worrying about things that don't even exist yet, creating problems in your mind? That is a sort of compulsive thinking where you don't have control and the mind has taken over completely, and the voice is coming up again and again, and that is leading to stress and anxiety. I would call as some sort of a quiet suffering. What most people don't realize is this: a large part of their suffering comes from negative, repetitive mental activity happening silently without their awareness. They are not even aware that they are a victim of their own thoughts. The first step to mindfulness is recognizing something very simple but profound. That is that voice in your head. It never stops. It narrates, it judges, it comments on everything. And that voice is your self-talk. We all do it. Sometimes it speaks as I, sometimes as you, and we often argue with ourselves, and we replay the past, we worry about future. One thought leads to another, and before we know it, we are lost in mental noise. And here is the truth: your body reacts to those thoughts as if they are real. One of the characteristics or one of the basic quality of mind is that it cannot differentiate between what is real and what is unreal. So your body naturally reacts to those thoughts which are not real, but as if they are real, it reacts. That imagined scenario, your nervous system thinks it is actually happening, even though you are just thinking. For your nervous system, it is actually happening. And so stress, tension and anxiety appears not from the outside world, but from the inside. Over a period of time, this inner clutter begins to affect our health. And only now science is catching up, showing how deeply mind can influence our body. For too long, medicine focused only on parts, not the whole person. But spiritual awakening begins with this one realization, that is a voice in your head, and most of it, what it says, isn't it helpful, or in fact it's often negative. We dwell too much on the insult, the slight hurt, for longer than we do on joy, love or peace. To just look back, we always dwell on things which are like the insult or the tough situations we had, rather than something which is joyous, which is love or peace. And that is how most people live, trapped in the mental loop of negativity without even knowing about it. And that mental emotional state is shaping our reality. What you attract, where you work, who you attract, what happens in your life. So, wherever the attention goes, the energy flows. And wherever the energy flows, the result shows. And but there is a moment in everyone's life to come out of that cycle of thoughts, to become aware of thoughts. The moment you become aware, that is the first step. That is what we tell in mindfulness, just being aware of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. Mindfulness doesn't mean stopping your thoughts, it means seeing them clearly, observing the patterns. There is a pattern to it, there is a organized pattern to it, and if you closely observe, and they are repetitive, most of the time it is repetitive, especially the ones which no longer serves us. And you may also notice this in others, how they say the same thing year after year after year. But the real work is noticing it in yourself. And when you begin to observe your mind, you realize something very powerful. You are not your thoughts. There is a deeper awareness within you, a silent presence watching the mind. There is something in the background to all these things. I would call this a silent presence. And that presence is not a thought, it is being. Many people live in the constant state of not enough, chasing more, achieving more, trying to fill the void. But true peace doesn't come from doing more. It truly comes from realizing who you are, beyond your thoughts, beyond the ego, beyond the story in your head. That is where the peace begins. Be still, be aware, be present. Thank you for listening.